Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Ciso here, bringing guys yet another Illustrator tutorial here today, bringing guys a video on how to create your own cool text logos. Now, the only one other tutorial I had about text logos was like 3 years ago, and it was like, it was one of those kind of like, oh god, I need to really fix this. So, I'm going to bring you guys another new one, updated one today. Now, there isn't a sketching part how I usually go about like doing logos and stuff, because it's fun, it's entertaining and whatnot, it's just kind of different, right? However, I don't have like a sketching process video, but I do have some sketches here that kind of explain in the two simplest ways that I would go about the process of actually making an illustration, a text logo, right? So, as you can see here, I call this like transition letters, right? So, if I'm doing text logos, you're always gonna find yourself, whatever letters there are gonna be letters for like a fact that have transition. These are just examples of some. There's probably like every letter can be transitioned. That's probably the creative part from, actually creating your own text logo and stuff like that. So I have an example here. I'll just use like a brush and I'll just make it like pink. TP, right? This is like a T, right here. And then I kind of transition the actual tail of the T to like be a P right here. It's very simple. I know it's very simple to like see it and visualize and stuff like that. I just want to make sure you guys understand it. So that's what it is right there, TP. It'll having like an HN right here. So this is a little bit of a slant. This is on a larger slant to actually, I guess, transitions to an N, right? So of course this right here is supposed to be a GA. So this is like a G right here, right? And then you kind of sort of got the A going here. This is a little more creative, a little more thought process into it, or maybe a little more suggestive, and not actually completely like visualized and just read exactly the way it's supposed to be read immediately, because that's not all the times what logos are, right? Sometimes they can be suggestions. This is NK, which I think I'm going to be doing for the actual video here today. So this is like the N right here. And then this little line right here kind of indicates the K, but I put this little line right here to kind of be like, okay, that's for sure now a K. But I think I'm going to do the NK for the actual example. Of course, you can see them here. This is another ED right here, right? And then OE over here. So these are just some transition letters that can also be transitioned to like even more, right? It can just be whatever, and that's kind of the whole point of like making a text logo. It's like, what ways can you make the letter transition, or what ways can you suggest letters? And that's like my next little thing over here is like representations, or just suggestions, or kind of like not having it be exactly what someone would want a FE to look like. That's what this is supposed to be right here. This is supposed to be FE. If you can't kind of see it, it's just a little fun, right? So the F is located right here, of course, right? I just have mine with no line here, but I put the extra line that would usually be right here on the outside. So it has a little further out, like going further out. So this is like the F. And then the E is pretty much suggested with this little line right here, because basically this would be the FE. However, there's just no line going through here to say, hey, this is the E right here. So this is like suggestive, right? So it's just not all the time like this is exactly what the letter is and you need to figure it out, or you need to know what it is automatically. It's a little bit suggestive. It's a little more playful. It's a little more fun, a little more creative, a little more thought process going in to like kind of like, try to figure out what it is rather than just know automatically. However, it's always best to figure out what the letters are or whatever a logo is, but it could also be a symbol. It doesn't have to always be a representation of the actual thing. And that doesn't make any sense. I mean, like, it doesn't always have to be a complete, you always don't have to read it automatically, right? So over here is an AD, right? So I pretty much suggested it with these little curves here and like right here going down here and this little line going through. I could probably continue this line a little further to more suggestive that it's an A, because right now you probably think it's an F going backwards, right? Which is also a thing. You can make letters go backwards. Who said you can't? And then right here is supposed to be a D. So I kind of suggested it by going over here, having this go over there, and like I have the dotted lines here to kind of like indicate what you'll be filling in if someone was looking at it. So it could either go as an A, D, or realistically it could also look like an FL if you think about it, right? And it's just like one of those things, and this is the last one I had over here, is it's an EA. So pretty much this one is just like, it's like there's the E right here, but this line's backwards, right? I just put it backwards because it's fun, it's whatever, and then I just kind of suggested that it can be put forward, and then I put this the middle E kind of line going through, make that the A little kind of thing going through, like the A of the middle of the A, and then have that be EA, right? So the whole point of this, like me like quickly going over this, is just kind of like just making sure you guys understand that it's not always about kind of, you know, making your letters look exactly the way it's supposed to be, like, or excuse me, making your letters be completely visible at all times and no creative thought go into it, because why not? Like, it's a little bit of the fun that actually goes into designing. So of course, every time I try to make a new logo tutorial, I try my hardest and my best to like give you guys new information, new kind of inspiration, just to kind of like go through and be like, hey, that's a pretty good idea, maybe I should try this instead of, you know, always sticking this way. So just thinking of other different ways to do something, go about something, will definitely help you guys out in variations, creativity, all that cool stuff. So that was my little quick fun little introduction right there of how to like actually create a nice little text logo through the sketching part. That's what I would probably usually have if I was or if I did like a sketching, you know, part. I would probably sketch these things out and say the same exact thing. However, why not just have it done already and just be ready to go really quickly? So okay, sweet. So 200 likes on the video equals a secret down below, so do not forget. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing going, and let's go ahead and start this thing off. All right, so let's get this thing going. So pretty much the one thing I'm gonna start off with for sure is basically the little kind of, I guess, shape to start off with. So basically I made a nice little shape by using the M tool, of course, the rectangle tool, and kind of just went ahead and kind of made a nice little size rectangle that's going to be like the width and everything of my actual letter concept, my logo concept, my text logo. Realistically, you want to do this only because, like, of course, we're not using a font, we're of course creating our own letters and such. And like I said before, I think I'm going to be using the example of the NK, and I'm probably going to add an E at the end of it. So for me, this will be the thickness of the actual letter concept, and it would look okay if you made it a little skinnier. However, you will find yourself like suggesting that, oh, I should have made my shape a little thinner, thicker, or whatever. So you might have to do multiples of it. Either way, this is the shape I'm going to be using for today. And basically what I'm going to be able to do is I'll just like either just hold Alt, right, and then just throw it in to my actual canvas. It's outside my canvas right now because I put it over there. I can put it inside. I just put it outside because I don't want it in my way. So I hold Alt. It makes the duplicate tool kind of like arise, and I can just simply move the actual shape right over. It'll make a duplicate for me, and then basically this is what I'll be using to make sure I suggest or excuse me, keep my same exact width throughout the entire thing. So that was that a voice crack? Throughout the entire thing. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. Like I said before, I will be using this as an example, so I can keep this here for why not reasons. So let's go ahead and do that. So pretty much what I have going on here is like N. So I guess I'll start off with the N, right? So I'm gonna put it on a little bit of a slant. We'll just say like also, if you guys did not know, if you hold Shift, it will rotate it in like perfect, like I guess 15 intervals. So if you guys want to do that, you guys can. However, I don't want to have it on this large of a slant. I mean, I could like a little less. How about like that? That's okay. Now, there's two things you can do. If you guys want to, this is kind of like the thing I've learned by just, you know, kind of course, messing around in Illustrator myself. Now, if you guys want to, if you guys are creating your own letters and your own letter concept and stuff like that, what you want to do is make sure that your points are hitting another point. So you want to make sure, what I like to do is I hold Alt, I select the shape that I want to move, right? That allows me to select the entire, all four or however many pen tool points there are. If I just clicked on it regularly, you guys probably do that as well. I just like clicking on it with Alt because why not? And also feel like if I'm using, is it the selection tool? Yeah, you can use the selection tool, direct selection tool, but I like to use the direct selection tool just because I can select each point if I need to and move them if I want to. However, in this case, we're not going to be needing to do that. But anyway, just keep in mind, every time you're going to be doing this, make sure that you select the point, right? And you want to move it all the way over, just like so, right? And then you can basically see, you can feel a snap. You can feel it snap, you can see it snap, and you'll say that is where the points are overlapping, and that is where for sure I want to have my actual shape be interacted, or excuse me, intersected. So if you guys did not know already, if you guys select two different shapes or highlight them like this, or like I like to do is hold Shift and just click on both of them, just like so, it'll select both of them. And then you can use a shape builder tool. Now, Shift M is the shape builder tool, and as you can see, it's located right over here, the shape builder tool. If you guys hold Alt, you'll see next to your mouse, it turns plus to minus, of course. Plus meaning it will detach whatever, like you see these little 4 quadrants, right? There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different shapes now that, you know, are created because these two rectangles are I guess, intercrossing. So if you press plus, or if you just didn't hold anything, you just selected one thing with the mouse having a plus near it, it'll basically make this into its own little shape, and you can move it if you guys wish to. Or if you hold Alt, you'll see a minus and it'll get rid of them. So if I just get rid of these two things, that can be the top of my N where I kind of have a point, and then, you know, so on and so forth if I continue at going that way and going that route. However, I like to do something like this. I like to go ahead and take another shape. Let's go ahead and take another shape, and we're going to hold shift so I can make sure I rotate it on a perfect axis so it's perfectly horizontal. And I'm going to take this point here, and I'm going to throw it right on this point over here. Now, you can either just like make another shape like so, drag it all, Shift M, shape builder tool, and get rid of it with holding Alt. You can do that, or you can just be human and kind of just move it by selecting the points, just moving it over, holding Alt if you guys want to. There we go. So this will do is you'll see when I go ahead and like add this one over here, another shape, and we'll put it on like a nice angle. I think that's a pretty good angle, right? And then also the reason why I said to hold Alt is because I like to select the point and move the point on its own. I don't like usually selecting the shape and then selecting the point. So if you guys select the point just with the direct selection tool right here, like A on your keyboard, I always use that for my actual thing, like go-to kind of movement selection tool. So when I click on the point and try to move it, it only moved that one point. But if I do click on it with using Alt, it'll select all the points, and that way I can just keep my mouse where it needs to be and then move it. So that's why I said hold Alt. I don't know if I clarified that, but now it looks kind of cooler because I kind of have a nice flat top in the end. So it'll go up and then have a nice little flat top and then go down. And then to add the flat top again, all I gotta do is take this rectangle you had before and then just put it on that point. And then I can take this over here now and we'll add this to this point right here. And then we have our nice little N. Now, for me, I can see that this needs to be fixed because this is not lined up at all. It looks really weird right now. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to drag these 2 points a little further out. And you'll see where the actual shape was prior to it. So if you just want to drag it out, kind of keep it in the same exact place, you can do that as well. Because I want to drag this out because I want to cut this perfectly. Because if I try to cut it right now, and the way I would do that is I would use the rectangle tool. And I would cut this so it's flat, perfectly matches up. But if I tried to use the shape builder tool, it'll cut this out the way I want it to. However, it's still going to be empty space right here, and so it'll look awkward. I want to make sure I have all this entire thing cut out where it's flat right on the bottom. So the way I would do that is take these 2 points like you saw me just do, right? Shift click on them, drag them out, make sure you're still lined up perfectly, and then I'll shift click or Shift M and then use the actual shape builder tool and then cut it out just like so, because that is how I want to have it. Right? Same thing with the top here. I can do the same exact thing. Let's just drag it up a little bit. Take a nice little rectangle tool. Make sure it's on the line. Shape builder tool. And then cut it out. So now we have our N. Our N is located right here. The N is right here as well. So now I got to add the K to it. So it's kind of like the little fun part where you kind of say, hey, what do I want to add this K at? So I'm going to go ahead and kind of put it on a further down. I don't know. I'm getting picky now. That's not terrible. It's not a terrible like angle. Can I have it K? I don't really know. I want a little bit more. Sure, that'll do. I'm gonna make sure I extend this out a little bit more because I have to cut out the bottom. So we're gonna do that again, just like so. Make sure this is all cut out nice, just like that. And I can also just shape builder tool and cut this part out right here as well because I don't need that there. So now I have my N and then my suggested K right here. Over here in my little sketch, I do have a little line going down here. I think I'm going to add that in just because. So I'm going to add it in. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm actually just going to use my shape. This is where you can also use shape builder tool. If you have a certain angle you kind of want to follow. Because right now in my head, I just suggested to myself that I wanted to. Is this, by the way, like imperfect? It is. Okay. I just suggested to myself that I kind of want to have it do something like this. Right, I want to have a little. I want it to, the actual little part right here, this little line, to be a little skinnier, or excuse me, a little not thinner, up more. Right? That's, I don't know which other way I'm gonna say that. Bring it up more, and then make sure that this. I want to kind of have something like this going on here, but it follows the same angle as this. Now I almost got completely lucky and almost did it perfectly by eye. However, the way I was just about to do it was, I almost said shish kebab to do it. The way I was just about to do it was. Kind of make sure that's like that, even though it probably doesn't matter. However, if I just shape builder tool or select these 2 points right here, so this one right here where it has that angle that I need, and then make sure I kind of have my other shape intersecting that shape here. So pressing Shift on my keyboard, Shift M to bring up the actual shape builder tool, and then select it. And then this right here will be like completely garbage to me, so I can just click on it, press delete, and I'll just move this thing over, and that way I know for sure that this angle right here is perfectly following this angle right here as well. It'll be pleasing to the eye, it'll be really nice, it'll be nicely cut, and it'll look pretty good. Now, I also kind of want to have it so that it kind of lines up with this right here. That's where rulers can come in, right? I can just like put my ruler in there and make sure that this is followed on that ruler line, yada yada yada. It'll be in your group right here as guides, and you can get rid of it just like so. But that is perfect. That's what I want. Now I said I want to add an E, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. E's are pretty easy for me. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw these on right here. Throw this on right here, and last but not least, throw another one on right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply make my own shape with the pen tool here, kind of like a triangle, so I can get this nice little diagonal. I'm going to follow this diagonal here, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to select all those things I just did, and then delete along the side right here, so I have a nice cool cut going through. Now if I want to get more creative, why not just kind of like pull this shape out a little bit? What if I just shape builder tool, select this shape, because I don't want this extent, I don't want all this like stuff over here, I just want this little shape here. Click on that, it'll make that nice little shape. Now I can take these 2 points here and move them a little forward like so, or maybe like move this over even like this, maybe move these in a little bit more, or no, just this. Maybe move these 2 things in a little bit more if I need to. Get rid of that like you just saw. Get rid of it, just like so. And then maybe like pull this out even more, and then kind of like have a little more fun with it, right? So there we kind of go. I kind of have exactly what I want. So I have the NK, where the N is right here, the K is right here, and then the E is also in there somewhere. I can probably might line this up like on this edge here, so it's a little more pleasant to the eye maybe. Right? So it's fun, right? It's really cool, it's really awesome, it's really simple to do as long as you kind of figure out a little bit of ahead of time what you kind of want to do. As you can see, I literally just took my idea that I had over here, the N and K, and this is that little line right here, of course, right? The N's located like right here, of course, and then there's the K as well that you guys saw suggested, that's right here. So in the end, all this little finalization stuff that you can do is actually pretty cool. There's one thing everyone loves to do is, of course, round their edges. People love rounded edges. Not everyone loves these sharp corners like this. People want to have like a nice rounded edge that kind of suggests doing something like, let's make this not that color. I need a stroke color. Kind of suggests doing like this, right? So it kind of does that nice little curve, which looks really good all the time. For me, I love doing it myself, and the way you're going to do that is, I do have a new layer here. I'm on a new layer. It doesn't really matter if you are on one or not. However, the one you want to do is you want to use the ellipse tool, which is L on your keyboard, and you pretty much want to make a nice circle. Let's make sure that it's a fill. Take this nice little circle here, and then with this circle, depending on if it's like an ellipse or more of an ellipse shape or whatever, depending on, you know, your circle shape, I'll make it a little bit more of an ellipse kind of a shape, not perfectly circular. And then what you basically want to do is you kind of like have to see these this little green line here suggests the outside stroke, the outside edge of the actual shape, and you want to make sure those touch the outside shapes of this shape right here. So this shape right here needs to be touched. As you can zoom in a little more. It's not really touching. It's touching now. And then over here it's touching maybe a little too much. So maybe kind of make sure you kind of fix that a little bit, and then fix this a little bit. Right, and then make sure this is still touching, and then basically what happens is if it's not touching, you'll see from when you use your shape builder tool again. So I'm gonna select all of it, so I'm just gonna kind of highlight this area right here, so it selects all the shapes that are involved. Shift M on my keyboard, and you can see everything is touching perfectly. Now let's just suggest or make a complete mistake on purpose, saying that this edge wasn't touching, or this edge wasn't touching either, but I'll make this edge touch, not the top edge. But if I did that, and if I use the shape builder tool, this is touching, but now if I try to get rid of this, it'll get rid of this entire shape because this circle is not touching on the edge. But now that I'm going to go back and make sure I had it touching, I can just delete them just like so. And now I have a nice, awesome, cool, no longer sharp corner, and it's actually just a nice, simple, rounded corner, and you can pretty much go through it the entire way. Just like so. I'm going to kind of do this a little more rougher, however you get the point, right? And you can see you have nice little rounded edges now, so you can do this through the entire thing, the entire project. You can do that. So kind of like, yeah. Also, when you're done with the entire thing, if you guys want to, and you you can see, of course, there's a whole bunch of different shapes within this actual design. If you want to move this one kind of like this little part right here, because this is all connected, you can't do that unless what I would suggest you would do is you would take where your group is. This is the entire stuff right here. Take this group, hold Alt, drag it up. Just like so, it'll make a duplicate of the entire layer. So you're gonna have two of the same exact thing. You can lock this up, call it your backup, and what you're gonna do with this actual layer you can get rid of the shape as well. You can just basically select the entire canvas or the entire actual project, bring your Pathfinder up, which is located in Windows, Pathfinder, and then go to where your Pathfinder is, shape modes. The first one says unite. If you guys can suggest what happens next, if you press this button, it unites all the different paths together. And if you just drop this down, you can see it's all in one nice group besides the other, this and this right here, right? So this entire thing now is that entire group right there. So if I want to now, if I want to move this, I could, or if I want to recolor just this NKE part, I can go ahead and just kind of click and recolor that and have two separate colors. Kind of have like a, what is it called? What is the word called when there's like something, like everything's the same besides that one thing? An anatomy, dude, what is it called? Anatomy. It's an anatomy. Something like that. I don't know, but basically that is a tutorial for today. Hopefully you guys understood everything. Hopefully I gave enough tips for you guys to go ahead and create your own cool text logos. And as always, guys, 200 likes on the video equals a secret down below. I have no clue what the secret download is. If you guys want the AI file to this, just let me know. Of course, do not forget to follow me on Twitter at SessoHQ. Do not forget to subscribe if you guys haven't already. And of course, check out my Sellfy, sellfy.com/SessoHQ for any pre-mades and packs as low as $3. Thank you guys so freaking much, and talk to you guys later. SessoHQ out. Peace. Don't forget to keep smiling, stay positive, and stay freaking productive, guys, even though it's freaking snowing outside. Later.